Welcome everybody! Yo. Episode 3 and Out. I'm your host, Marco Barron. My co-host, Eric Waldman. And we're here to bring you the week that was of NFL Week 1. Do you remember an NFL Week 1 as exciting as this past one was?
No, this one was brilliant. Except for the dud last night. But
except for the finale, which we will get to.
Yeah.
This was one of the greatest Week 1s.
But Sunday was fantastic.
In recent memory. Sunday, we had 4-5 games within a point each. A lot of games between touchdowns.
A lot of excitement. A lot of big plays.
A lot of studs coming up big.
And we're going to get into it all.
We're going to bring you the injuries, the pickups, the analysis, the breakdown. But first, we are going to talk to our Hank Fraley Week 1 winner and first place team.
First place.
His name is Cody. His last name is Hume. He just got married. Cody, you're on the line. What's going on, bud?
Hey guys, long time, first time. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Appreciate the love.
It was really just a crazy Week 1. Gotta agree with you. Although I can't be too sad about the dud of a game last night because it really was the push that I needed to take first place.
Yeah, you can't be too upset, Code. I think pretty much everybody on your team had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns each. So, I mean, you just destroyed everybody. So, not much to complain about there.
I would have destroyed most people Week 1, but Ben did give me a run for my money. The only person who I wouldn't have beat had I not scored, extra 10 points at the end.
Right, and that's got to feel good sticking it to him.
It does, it can't feel good for him, but you never want to be the guy who would have beat everyone except the guy you're playing.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you did everything you could. Once you score the most points, you guarantee yourself a W. I feel really bad for Ben. This was completely undeserved. This is the part of the game that drives me nuts.
It's brutal when you have these weeks where you put up... I mean, Ben put up a 149 and takes the loss. That's rough.
And I think overall, I want to talk more about your team, Cooler, but just briefly on Ben, he hit on a lot of his...
Hit on a lot of guys.
He hit on a lot of his guys.
Jordan Matthews, big game. DeMarco Murray, huge game. Julius Thomas, huge game. Abdullah was big.
Abdullah and Ebron in the flex for him.
And then he pulls out a 21 spot, the highest scoring player on his team.
Right.
The Minnesota defense just took it to Tennessee.
Right. And he's got LaFell stashed already. Yeah. He's got Sean Drawn, who I think is going to be exciting for the Niners. Yeah. In catch-up mode.
But let's talk about Cody.
Let's talk about Cody.
Cody, how do you feel? What are your overall impressions? Week 1. Any worries coming out of Week 1? I mean, you put up a 160. I can't imagine there's too much to be worried about. But what are your overall questions, comments, and concerns?
There's a lot to be happy about. Obviously, AJ Green, my first pick of the draft, 11th overall. I was happy not to, brag on your pick, Eric, but I skipped over Dez. Had a bad feeling about it. Tony Romo has not been healthy as of late. I had to go for AJ Green.
Yeah.
He's in his prime. He's got a good thing going with Andy Dalton. And honestly, I mean, with Dak Prescott going with Des Bryant, a good quarterback can make average wide receiver great, but not the other way around.
Yeah,
that was beautifully done, and everything that we had said leading up or after the draft rather about AJ Green, him being a target monster.
Yeah,
I mean, you just 10 for 10 against Revis.
Yeah, it was a rough day for my boy Revis.
I don't think Revis is a bad player, and I don't really think he's going to have a bad season per se, but this is just domination.
AJ, you got to understand, AJ has the talent of those other top elite receivers in the league. He's in the same class as Julio, DeAndre.
Right.
He's there talent-wise.
He was on a different level, but if you look at his stats, I mean, this is his 6th year in the league. He's been very, very consistent over his entire career. I mean, putting up well over 1,000 yards each year.
Right.
probably getting around another 10, 11 touchdowns this year.
Absolutely.
You gotta like what you see.
And the sex appeal wasn't as big going in this year, and I think that's why he fell. I think he hasn't had the monster season like Jones or Brown. He's just been so consistent, so physically gifted.
Well, I'll admit to you, Cody, I was praying that you would let AJ slip to me in the draft, and you wisely did not, so kudos to you. But I want to move on to some of the other players on your team. You got a big game out of Brandon Cooks. Huge game, partially due to a 98-yard touchdown, but even subtracting that, I think he had a great game.
Right.
For me, Carlos Hyde really had a great game for you too. A guy who I wasn't sure how to peg him coming in.
Right.
But he showed he can have big games.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous having him be my first running back of the draft in the third round, but you know, he's really pushing to be that guy who's going to get, I think, the most carries for San Francisco and hopefully get those goal line carries.
I will admit, he did the same exact thing last year, week 1, Minnesota. He torched them and then proceeded to average just 50 yards a game for the next 8 games. So I do want to see it first for a little bit more. And I also worry about, with 49ers game scripts, are they going to be playing from behind a lot? I don't know. The defense looks a lot better this year, though.
Yeah, they look better.
And he loves
but you know
playing
what?
Chip Kelly.
I don't know how much credit I can give them because the Rams just...
I think that's... we need to see Niners.
We need to see
week
another
2.
game at least.
I completely agree. But the Rams, obviously, we'll talk about later, but looking like by far the worst team in the league.
Yes.
But I think the point is, Cody, I think you're going to be happy with Hyde, assuming he stays healthy. He really did mention that he loves playing for Kelly, and I think he's kind of reinvigorated that offense. So we'll see. I want to see it again, but I like it there. And you know what? Kudos to you on Philip Dorsett. I think that's going to be a wonderful second flex play for you for the rest of the year. He's a big play machine.
Yeah, I like him. I like him and Luck connecting up. We'll see how they do against the Denver defense next week.
Sure.
Right. You've got Coleman stashed as well.
Surprise. To Coleman.
Henry, obviously DeMarco kind of really established himself week 1. He showed that he can be the red zone guy. But I think it's a matter of time before Henry's just pure talent comes out. What he did on that 41-yard pass was special. So maybe it's not there yet, but I think it's a fantastic stash. The only areas that you have to worry about at this point is Russell Wilson. Is that ankle going to bother him the rest of the season? And now Zach Ertz is out for the foreseeable future with a displaced ribeye.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious, but it's very painful. So give me your thoughts on Russell specifically, because I think if he returns top 3 quarterback numbers, then you're gonna be making a lot of noise late in the season as a playoff team.
Yeah, I that's what I was hoping for. I definitely wouldn't say I regret my pick for Russell Wilson, 4th pick of my draft. I tended to do the same thing last year. Took Andrew Luck pretty early based on a good year earlier, and it really didn't pan out for me. So I'm not going to put all my eggs in Russell Wilson's basket this year. We'll see what he does, but we'll have to see what happens with his injury before I really feel comfortable with it.
Right. That's fair. And next week you're facing a 1-0 team in Ryan Denny, who is I think it's a close matchup. I see you've already slotted McDonald in there. He's obviously really hit the nail on the head with Forte, but with Gurley being facing Seattle now, we'll talk about Gurley later, but I think you can pull this one out, Coda. I'm gonna give you the nod here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that Gurley didn't have a great week last week, and Seattle defense didn't have a great week last week. I'm hoping his stays the same and mine turns around, and that'll really give us a good swing in my direction for this matchup.
Right. All right, kid. We're gonna send you on your way. I appreciate the time. I wish you well, and I'm a believer in this team, especially with some of the guys you hit on. Crabtree, Hyde. Again, we're 1 week. I don't want to freak out, but so far you got to be happy about that win. It's a dominating win, and great draft clearly. So.
Thank you guys. Always a pleasure, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Bo. Be good.
All right. Thank you for that code. Let's just jump right into the games. We got a lot to get through.
Okay.
And we got to do it rather quickly. Some folks, hour 45. It's a lot to digest. Totally understandable. But I'm gonna say this again. What a freaking week! What a freaking week. We got Thursday games are just notoriously terrible. We got a fantastic week out of the first one.
Yeah, we did.
What are your and before I jump into this, we're gonna play a little. It's gonna be kind of an ongoing game during the show. When I call out someone or Eric calls out someone, if we like the guy, this is more of a stock up, stock down, a bear or bull, if you will. Except there are no bulls in the NFL, unfortunately. That is the NBA. There are only Bills. So we got a little Bill right here. Are you Bill? Or are you Bear? That's what's going to be decided today, and should help you guys for the remainder of the season. Quick hitting thoughts on some of the key players within the Denver Bronco game. I think we nailed a lot of it during the post-draft analysis with our discussion on Demarius and Emmanuel. Mm-hmm. But what about this C.J. Anderson kid?
That I think he made the biggest statement in that game, or the Broncos' running game in general. I think they showed a real commitment to it. The offensive line for Denver looks better than they did last year. I had mentioned to you that I believe they've upgraded both tackle spots in the offseason.
Right.
Carolina boasts one of the best, if not the best, defensive front.
Right.
And they got pushed around a decent amount. C.J. Anderson did work both carrying the ball, catching the ball.
That's the most encouraging part.
Looks spry. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the workhorse. I don't think any other back really contributed too much. Except for
he had
Janovich,
20 carries. Next, Janovich had the big run.
Right.
But Devontae Booker fumbles his first carry.
Yeah, so we
gets 2 carries the remaining game.
We may not see him again.
Folks, droppable. Purely a injury handcuff at this point. I think the deterioration and the loss of Ronnie Hillman, this is huge for him. So Ronnie Bucci, classic Ronnie Bucci, believes in his Broncos and hits on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much to talk about on the Panthers side, other than Kelvin Benjamin.
Good game. I mean, it's what his owners were hoping for.
Oh man.
There was no real Devin Funchess sighting, so no threat to
One
Benjamin.
catch, 2 catch.
Yeah, I think Benjamin played majority of the snaps. A heavy load for him.
Right. I mean, he was still around 50, so it's not like he was 100%. But that's what's fascinating about him is he turns 12 targets. He has 12 targets for 51% of his snaps.
Well, I believe last year Carolina was the most efficient offense in the league, and they'll probably. I mean, I don't see any reason why they can't continue that trend to be a top efficiency team.
So he gets 12 targets. Olsen gets 9. The next best was Funchess at 4, who caught 1 ball for 9 yards. And honestly, that kind of looks like the game script from here on out. It's going to be Newton at the goal line. Yeah. We said, can he repeat that? After seeing him plunge in another one,
he could.
Oh boy,
he could. You know.
We won't make too much of it, but this seemed like a classic Carolina game where he's going to feed Benjamin, he's going to feed Olsen, and he's going to take in the touchdowns. So, if you're a Jonathan Stewart owner, you're frustrated, but that's really what it is. Right. Quickly on the Broncos, Thomas, Sanders. I know it's one game, but I think you're going to see a lot of these type of games. I think there's going to be frustration.
Thomas is dealing with the hip injury now,
right?
So I don't think there's been a resolution to that yet.
Right.
Sanders, For me, I can see them finishing with very similar numbers.
Yeah. Target distribution 8 and 6. Sanders actually had more.
Yeah.
Both were at about 50 yards. I could see Sanders actually returning value and Thomas disappointing, even though they end up probably
Sure, just based on where they were drafted. Yeah.
So yeah, if I'm a Thomas owner, I'm not thrilled. If I'm a Sanders owner and he's my wide receiver 3 or flex, I'm okay with that.
All right, let's move on. What's
Let's
the next
move
game?
on.
What do you
Let's
got?
do it.
What do you got next?
The next game. Ooh, this was a juicy one. A lot of implications here. Tampa Bay and the Atlanta Falcons in a shootout. And Jameis Winston, who went undrafted in our 14-teamer, lights it up for 4 touchdowns.
Against an Atlanta pass defense that I believe was top 5 last year. I think they're
Desmond Trufant's
a top corner.
Right, exactly.
Mike Evans still caught his touchdown. I think he went 5 for 90 in the touchdown in this one.
Right.
We saw a lot of production.
5 for 59, which I think was the exact line that we projected him for as a game-in, game-out basis. His 5 catches, his 100 yards.
Yeah, something like that. That seems about the Mike Evans standard.
I'm excited if I'm an Evans owner right now because this offense looks sick.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'd be excited too. I wish I had. Winston might end up being a top quarterback too, man. They look good.
Yeah.
Doug Martin, even though the points weren't there, I think he'll be fine too.
Yeah, the usage is there. 18.
He got the 18 carries.
Caught 5 balls.
And he caught 5 balls too.
That's nice.
So I think Charles Sims gets the highlight. He had that quick scamper into the end zone with the move. But Doug Martin still has the volume, and I don't think he's going anywhere.
Right, I think Sims is purely a flex play for you guys at this point. I know he is for me.
Yeah.
In the Mansion League. So it's really I just got to hope for pass catching and maybe the Bucs lose some, don't go down as much. But with this offense, you're not talking about a Nintendo offense. This is looking like one.
Yeah.
If you're Vincent Jackson owner, though, I think you are concerned. I just think he's too old at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure. For me, the jury's still out on VJax.
That's fine.
Because I think if he's healthy, he can definitely contribute in this offense.
Right.
I just don't see a ton of other pass catchers aside from Evans and Sims.
This looks to me like the takeover when Jones just took over from Roddy White that year, and he was just the guy.
Could. Yeah. But speaking of the Falcons, let's look at them real quick. A couple things to point out. Tevin Coleman, I think, is the biggest. The running back situation there is the biggest point to make here.
And we said this. We said RBBC.
Yeah.
We said Coleman was going to be a stitch in Devontae Freeman's side. Freeman is not an RB1 anymore.
So let me throw this at you. You're a Freeman owner, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with him? You holding? You selling? If you're gonna sell, what are you gonna take for him? What are you hoping for? What do you do?
Do you wait for him to have a good game and sell high?
And sell?
I think right now there's not a lot of confidence in him. I think he's, especially not. I don't think he didn't capitalize in the red zone. The good news for owners, he did dominate red zone.
He was a red zone
6-1.
Yes.
Which is interesting since Coleman's the big back. So they almost kind of did the opposite of what you think. It's Coleman was catching the balls, Freeman's getting red zone. I think we need to see more, honestly. I would hold.
I worry. I really worry. You go back to last year, going into the season, Tevin Coleman was the starter. First game
they
of
wanted
the season,
him to be the guy.
They gave him 20 carries.
They wanted him to be the guy.
He got hurt. Freeman stepped in,
Right.
and everybody knows the story. But I think they're going to give Coleman as many chances as they can.
I know,
really
but
be
it was
the
same
guy.
snaps, basically the same touches, and barring an injury, I don't know that this becomes a huge swing in Coleman's favor. In my third league, I obviously made a huge mistake in just dropping Coleman for the speculative Kelly ad. Rob Kelly, who literally got 0 touches. He didn't even see the field.
Yeah, he blew that.
So I'm sour on that. However, I think barring an injury, I think both guys are going to be equally useful week to week.
Okay.
And you just won't know until someone guy hits pay dirt.
Okay. For me, they're both flex plays.
Okay, that's fair. Other than that, the only story in this game was Mo Sanu living up to the preseason hype, which a lot of guys did, which was awesome. A lot of guys stepped it up. You love that.
But I think he walked out with an injury, so that's something to.
He was hobbling. That's
monitor.
right. I don't think there's been a latest status on him.
No.
Though I also don't think that there's anything that would implicate that he is, or indicate rather that he's out for next week. Something to be concerned about. He was limping badly. That was the report.
Yeah, nothing's been updated.
But gotta love that. Finally, a real number 2 across.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see
across
what he
Julio.
does. Should be
So
interesting.
we'll see. Good game. And yeah, I think those are the big hitters in that game. Let's go to Minnesota, Tennessee. Minnesota favored in this one, and not a fantasy story, but Sean Hill played very well.
You think he played very well? I mean, he got the ball to Diggs, which is the only fantasy receiver that you're really starting.
He gets Diggs 100 yards. He led some drives.
I guess that's good. Peterson, major disappointment.
That's probably the burning story on the side of the Vikings.
Yeah.
Where do you put him now? Am I panicking if I'm a Peterson owner? If I'm a Nick Mariano?
No.
And that's my first round pick?
I can't because it's Adrian Peterson and
yeah,
he finishes with the same stats every single year.
Sure.
I feel like he has a couple of these games.
He does.
Throughout the season.
Yep.
Every year.
Yep.
It just happens because teams play 8-9 in the box against them. They know it's coming.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Does it bother you, though, that this was a bit of an easier matchup on paper, though? This is the Tennessee Titans. This isn't the Seahawks.
I know that, but I
bottled
don't want to say after week 1 that Tennessee's defense is an easy matchup. You know what I mean? Things are very fluid year to year.
That's fine.
I think that's unfair to say.
That's fine. Okay.
At this point.
I'm a little sour, but I know Nick Mariano is eagerly waiting for Sam Bradford to take the field, and I think
he's a major boost for.
I think he would think, and I kind of agree that opens up the field a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe give some space to
run it a bit more.
To run it a bit more.
All
so,
right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. You don't like you want to see your studs like perform.
Yeah,
it's
discouraging. What are you telling me?
It's discouraging. He averaged 1.6 yards a carry. I mean, he didn't even get 2, so that's disturbing.
Right.
Let's see another week, though. Jerick McKinnon, not really a factor for those hoping he would be. Only 1 carry.
And I don't think he will be.
No.
To be honest. There was some buzz about him in the
1 catch, 1 carry.
I'm not buying it.
Purely an injury hold at this point for Peterson. Just one of the better cuffs on a run for
Let's move to the Titans.
Give me the Titans.
I think they were a little more exciting here. I don't think anybody had huge numbers. Murray obviously scored the 2 touchdowns. Had about 80 yards from scrimmage. He's the guy to own right now in that backfield. Henry, boomer bust flex right now.
Yeah, the story is it's a hold because of pure talent.
Yeah.
It's a hold because of Murray's. I think he's considered injury prone. I don't even know if he's actually gotten hurt that much.
I don't know if I buy that. Yeah,
I don't think he is. It's a hold though based on talent.
Yeah.
But right now, I like the Titans. What they did, they said, we paid the kid. Let's feed him. Gave him the rock twice by the goal line. He's a great pass catcher. Nice little weapon for Mariota. I think Ben hit the nail here.
Ben will be all right.
Yeah.
With DeMarco for sure.
Oh, I've heard other opinions though that say this might just be the time to sell high on Murray now.
You think so?
This might be the time to sell high.
What was the carry split for that?
And this, for me, is my first bear. I'm bear on DeMarco Murray because I believe in D. Henry's talent. And, I mean, if he doesn't get those catches, has he done anything? You could say that about so many guys, so maybe that's not the right thing to say. But
But he did. 5 catches is pretty good. And I think think he's a decent receiving back. I think he caught passes while he's
Right.
in Dallas. He can pass block, so
Right.
he can play all three downs.
Okay, so would you rather have him or Latavius Murray?
Probably Latavius because there isn't a stud rookie behind him.
Okay.
That's I'll go with Latavius.
Probably feels in that range, though.
Yes.
Only other stories out of this game was Rashard Matthews just absolutely crapped the bed. He had less targets and I think snaps than Harry Douglas and Andre Johnson. An official drop for me.
Yeah.
Not worth a hold. It was worth a shot. And we were, I tell you right now, I was dead wrong on Todd Sharp. He's not 5'10". He's a big dude. He's 6'2".
Yeah.
So he is a number one receiver. He can be a number one receiver. He played by far the most snaps out of anyone. He turned it into 7 catches for 76 yards on 11 targets.
Yeah.
Really encouraging. I think he's a solid flex for the remainder of the season. And in those games,
Flex, if not
WR3,
WR3 for sure.
that's
For sure.
That's totally fine. So, horrible call by me. I had Rashard in one. Diversify your bonds. Go
Yeah.
Taj in the other one. Instead, I let him go to CJ. I'm shooting myself in the foot for that. But we'll move it on. Chargers, Kansas City. This was another amazing game.
Chargers, KC.
Amazing game. Obviously, a story. Keenan Allen gets hurt. ACL's done. Who do you want? Who's the guy for you?
I don't know if there is one guy you're gonna pick up. I think out of the receivers, Benjamin is probably your safest bet to get an uptick in targets and production.
Think Benjamin elevates to stud level. They haven't had a replacement like him when Allen was out. They're relying on guys, like Inman is the slot, that's fine, and then Malcolm Floyd and this,
We'll see.
Vincent Brown.
I think Woodhead gets a big boost.
I love Woodhead now.
He had a huge game already.
Right.
And now with Allen out, I think they really go to him as the short yardage option.
I agree. And the name to watch out for is Tyrell Williams. That's the guy who could potentially step up.
I nerded out a little bit yesterday.
Okay.
Watched some film on
Okay.
the kid.
College or NFL?
College film.
Okay.
There's not a lot of NFL stuff on him.
Okay.
I watched the college tape. He played at a small school, but man, when I tell you, he made these kids just look stupid. He was flying by people left and right, like just looked like he was from another planet.
Right.
And I understand it was either AA or Division II.
Right.
He wasn't playing top college ball, but I mean he is just an amazing athlete. And he's 6'4", over 200 pounds, big guy. His combine numbers were retarded. I'm upset that I missed out on him.
I am too. I think he is a big play machine waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And I think he's just by opportunity and volume is going to be.
If he can get
special.
consistent targets,
right? And he already had 5 after coming in.
Yeah.
So it's
I think
he was involved.
I like him, and for free off the waiver wire.
Right.
I
And he had 2 big catches. He had a long of 38.
Yeah.
And you do a little bit of math with your brain. The other one's obviously somewhere over 20.
Yeah.
Call it 23 maybe.
Yeah.
A little math there for you. So that's big plays right there. Encouraging. He's already picked up in our leagues.
Right.
Gone. If he's not picked up in yours though, out of $100 budget, what do you think? $6, $7?
I think it's fair.
Call it 6.
Less than 10.
Less than
I wouldn't
10.
go over 10, depending
Because-
on what your needs
Right.
are.
We got to see what happens, of course,
Yeah.
but it's someone to be. I think it's one of the more exciting pickups this week.
Yes.
How
How about Melvin Gordon?
Melvin Gordon. I'm pissed.
You're pissed?
I wanted nothing more than for this guy to fail, and I'm watching Red Zone, and I see this a-hole plunge in 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
I'm freaking out about Danny Woodhead at this point.
Right.
But then the tables turn.
Quickly.
Is it game script, or is it just... what is it?
It's weird. I can't call it game script because the Chargers were up
like over
It
21
was
points, right?
21-3 going into halftime, and I believe they put the field goal up next. They're up, I think, 24-3 at one point. And Gordon, you would think that's when they're going to give it to Gordon to just pound the rock. But that's not the case. Woodhead out-carried him,
Right.
out-snapped him.
Right.
And the yards per carry
Right.
were, I think, Woodhead over a yard more per carry.
A yard and a half more. A yard and a half more.
So we may just have to face the facts that Danny Woodhead is a legitimate
He's
NFL running back.
He's the real deal.
He's
I couldn't believe he got more carries.
He can run.
He
obviously he catches all kinds of passes.
Right.
He blocks like an animal.
Right.
He's just a
So either way, listen. Excited if you're a Woodhead owner, but also excited if you're a Gordon owner. Really encouraging 2 touchdowns.
So you see the arrow pointing up on both.
You got to be up on both of them.
Okay.
The only one that's pointing down on is Phillip Rivers. No longer a top 12 quarterback for me. The stats of when Keenan are on and off the field are so distant, if you will. He's outside of the top 12 when he's not on the field. He's a top 5 quarterback.
You don't think your stud Travis Benjamin will
maybe
be able to?
I don't know if it'll be as bad as last year for
buoy his
sure,
stats?
but we'll see. It's just it's something to be concerned about if I'm a Rivers owner.
On the other side,
Oh boy,
Spencer
Woo!
Ware. Holy shit! Look at his final.
199
Wow. Yeah.
total
that's-
yards.
I think everybody's. Yeah.
Holy
I mean, we
smokes.
knew he was gonna have a
Verdi-
good week.
Verdi,
But God
I
damn.
told you. I told you.
Yeah.
Charles isn't even going to play game 2. And now that he's done this, and if he does something special again,
Yeah.
I don't think you can take this kid off the field. I'm going to say it right now.
No.
He had the same amount of snaps as Sharkhandrick West, except he had twice as many touches and obviously the most efficient touches you could
Just an
possibly have.
animal.
Beast. And
So
I think he'll be a problem all year.
We know what he can do on the field. I think week to week, Ware is a guy you safely put in your lineup. You don't worry about it,
Right.
no matter what the matchup is.
I think he's a flex play for the remainder of the year.
proven that.
Charles doesn't play. He's
While Charles is out, he's
a top 3 running back.
He's an RB1 for sure. So you think Charles comes back? How do you see the split?
I guess
Presuming a healthy Charles.
maybe 10 carries for each. Spencer Ware still heavily involved in the pass game, although I think Charles is traditionally good at the pass game too. And then Ware in the red zone.
Yeah.
Ware in the red zone.
It'll
for
be
me.
interesting to see.
Even though West is supposed to be the passing guy too. They have 3
Yeah.
passing guys on that. So I think it's going to be a mess. But I think ultimately Ware's shown that he's going to be useful all year. All right, moving on. Love that game though. Sick game. The spread, if you took the Chargers, you hit. Oh boy, my favorite game of the week.
What do you got?
Raiders. Oh my God! Do the most un-Raider-like thing. They come in the Metro, what, the Astrodome? Superdome. And they stomp all over Drew Brees. It's not actually true, but
Not
they
true.
pull out such an incredible win away in the Dome. Very unlikely to win there. Derek Carr steps it up. Amari Cooper steps it up.
Everybody.
Latavius Murray played well. Michael Crabtree played well. And Jack Del Rio has the biggest set of man-meat balls on him. Going for 2, throws the fade to Crabtree, who then gets a 15-yard penalty for excess celebration, which I don't even want to get into a celebration. But Raiders look like a plus offense this year. I'm excited about week 2 to see what they can do. The defense, obviously, very disappointing, but a lot of teams disappoint in the Superdome against Drew Brees.
I can see the defense definitely improving. It's hard to look good against Drew Brees in New Orleans. I was happy to see Amari Cooper have a big game.
Right.
Crabtree had a good game. A lot of big performances out of this game. Brees, obviously, with 4 touchdowns. Cooks, we talked about it earlier. My biggest name from this one, Willie Snead.
Willie
For
Snead.
me.
Willie Snead is the story of this game far and away. You knew Cooks was going to do that. He untouched past Sean Smith, who's on pace to give up like 20,000 yards or something like that after
They
one
benched
game.
him after
They
that.
benched him.
They weren't afraid.
So Raiders, looking like a bust right now. That was a little improved, but Willie Snead, wide receiver 2 for you remainder of the year now. Is this enough, or is this just
high end 3?
Okay.
For me, maybe if he has another week or two like this, obviously we'll have to move him up or reconsider at least.
He just looks good. Big plays,
Yeah.
involved in the red zone.
We'll see what they look like away from New Orleans too.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
I'd be happy if I owned any share of this.
Yeah,
this
I'm officially Bill on Willie Snead for the remainder of the year, and I am officially Bear on who's that tight end again that they signed?
Fleeter.
Oh, Maron! A game they score 34 points. There's almost
right.
70 points in the game. Kobe Flynn catches one pass.
I almost forgot to bring him up because he was just non-existent.
Because he's so far down on the stat sheet that
you have to look for him. You have to look.
I don't know what to do. Maybe it's a freak out. No, but no. All of the preseason
it's not a freak
talk
out.
was that this guy was going to suck.
He doesn't get the playbook.
He doesn't get it. Done with him. Can you drop him?
I don't think you can because if you have him on your team, you invested a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick in him because he was going, right below the Jordan Reed, Delaney Walker, Kelsey kind of group.
So
wow. So you can't drop him yet, but I would definitely have another tight end on my roster.
You're freaking out. I know you are. You're freaking out.
Yes.
You got to pick up someone else.
Yes.
If you're dumpster diving, folks, deep leagues, Seth Roberts still catches touchdowns, and Jalen Richard looks to have overtaken.
I don't think anybody's picking up Roberts.
If you're in a 16-team league, maybe, right?
Nobody's picking up Roberts.
Okay, well, I think Seth Roberts will be rostered at some point this season. He catches touchdowns. That's it. Moving on.
I don't think so.
Moving on. Go Raiders, though. My God, what a win. Eagles, Browns. Another fascinating game. We've got implications.
A lot of points in this
We
game,
got
too.
rookies who were drafted after third-string quarterbacks. Jared Goff stepping it up. Quarterback rating over 100. I think he's elevated to someone that's rosterable at this point in 12-teamers. Certainly 14-teamers.
As a second quarterback, I can jive with that. Yeah.
So and all of a sudden, I'm Bill on Jordan Matthews. Holy smokes! What was his final line?
He had 7 catches for 114 and
on
touchdown.
14 targets.
14 targets, yeah.
Double more than anyone else. The next person was Zach Ertz, who had 7 and is now hurt.
Right.
Popular pickup Nelson Aguilar.
Scored a touchdown in this one too.
Do you need to see more though?
If I have room at the back end of my roster, I don't mind taking a flyer on Aguilar. The Browns. I don't know if the defense isn't great, but at the same time, you can't argue with the production. Wentz looked good. He threw some great passes in this game. I'm watching the highlights right now. The pass to Aguilar was a dime. The pass to Matthews was a good one. I think he can play.
Right.
And I think he can support at least 2 viable pass catching options.
I agree. So he's an interesting. Yeah, he's a pickup. I won't say interesting yet. I would probably put him in the Victor Cruz, Devontae Adams range of pickups, if you will.
I think I would prefer him and Adams over Cruz. We'll talk about Cruz later.
Okay.
But I'm not.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. I am not buying him either.
Okay.
And I'll be the first to tell Kenny over that.
Yeah.
Only other story on the Eagles side I would say is nice to see Ryan Matthews getting a lot of work.
Got a lot of work.
He basically split snaps with Sproles, but he got 22 carries.
Right.
Average wasn't great, only 3.5.
I think that's what they want to do.
Right. I think you got a rookie quarterback. Go with this slightly more
I think
power
the Eagles
stuff.
pretty much imposed their will in this game. Like if they could draw up a game plan and have it put into action any way they want, this is what they would want.
I agree.
As far as the numbers go, spread across the board.
I completely agree. If the Eagles are getting pounded which I don't know that they'll be getting pounded. I think this defense is much improved. I think it's underrated.
Brought in Jim Schwartz to run the defense.
Right.
They switched the scheme up, so we'll see.
Assuming, though, they start losing, I get worried about Matthews, obviously, but now I'm kind of banking on Wentz being capable and that defense being capable.
Okay.
Other side of the ball, Griffin's out. Horrible arm break. The kid just does not know how to slide. I feel bad, but...
I don't feel bad at this point.
Okay.
Sorry. Gotta learn your lesson, pal.
Because the biggest story on the Browns side...
What was it?
Gary Barnidge.
Yeah.
Who we love. We
My
love
guy,
Gary.
your guy.
Tight end 2
Everybody's
last year.
guy.
Everybody's got Gary Barnidge.
Everybody loves some Gary Barnidge.
2 targets, 2 drops, 0 catches.
No production.
Donut in week 1.
It hurt.
Hurt bad.
It hurt a lot.
Hurt bad. Didn't cost me any leagues, thank God, but
good news.
Great news.
Great
news
for us. Josh McCown coming in to save the day.
Oh boy.
Last year, Gary Barnidge, the top tight end in the league.
That's right.
With Josh McCown under center for
yes,
the Browns.
on a per play basis, best
top
tight end. I agree. McCown averages less than the league average in terms of depth of target.
Sure.
So it's right in Gary Barnidge's wheelhouse. Going to look for him in the red zone again. This couldn't have worked out better for us.
It was great.
We get over week 1. We get past it.
We move past
But now, Barnidge owners, you can breathe a sigh of relief. We got McCown back on our side.
How about the young Browns receivers, Pryor and Coleman? Both, I think, had solid games. Pryor had a great catch. I think he went for 40-something yards. He looks good. But does this hurt their value for you?
In theory, there's no reason why with the new coach Hugh Jackson, who wants to implement a more downfield attack, wants to be less horizontal than the traditional Browns regime. Maybe not. Maybe not. He's not as reckless as RG3 with just bombs.
No.
Which obviously can turn into fantasy gold. I think we need to see more.
You may not see as aggressive of an offense, but surely I would put my chips to bet on them being a more efficient offense.
Sure. Okay. I would say the only thought I have quickly on that is that I think Pryor actually looked a little bit better. Had more targets, 7 to Coleman's 5. When Gordon comes back, I don't know if all 3 become super viable, and you probably got to pick 2. And right now, my gut's saying
how about
Pryor.
Duke Johnson? He's kind of just lost in the shuffle at this point.
That was upsetting. For a game that they were losing that bad, to only get 3 carries and catch 3 balls.
Yeah.
It was 5 targets, but I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed
I'm very disappointed in that.
Duke owner too.
That was a game. That was a perfect game script for him.
Kind of played into his skill set, and it did.
I don't know what else you want. That's everything he wanted. Okay. So a little panic there. Green Bay, Jacksonville.
Nice.
Wow. Initial thoughts was that Jacksonville's defense actually looks to have stepped it up.
Yeah.
I think Rodgers, while he made that incredible play, that throw to Adams while almost being tackled, they held him in check for basically the entire second half.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it's Nelson looking definitely shaken off some rust, right? 6 for 32 is incredibly inefficient. Cobb had an okay game. He got hurt a little bit there.
Yeah.
It's kind of what happens. I think we got to see more games of the Packers. But I think Devontae Adams becomes a little more interesting. You know, he did step it up. It was a very nice catch.
Devontae is definitely rosterable now. And
yes.
I think he definitely has a shot at working his way into weekly lineups.
I agree. Lacey, not the best game, but he did dominate snaps and rushes as
better games are ahead for Lacey. I wouldn't be worried.
Right. Not panicking there.
Jared Cook, dud. Very surprised.
You want to talk about a bear? It's oh my god! I was freaking out. I was like, I don't have Jared Cook anywhere.
Yeah, a lot. You know, I thought he might be the guy to step up, give him that Jermichael Finley role from a few years ago. But yeah, he just was non-existent.
Droppable.
Non-existent.
Jared Cook, such a Jared Cook thing to do.
Such a Jared Cook.
That's that 7-9 BS that he's used to.
He's used to that.
From the Rams.
He's used to that.
Jag side, Yeldon, Ivory's injury or his medical, whatever's going on, is a concern. He'll probably miss week 2. Safely plugging Yeldon as an RB2, I would say, on volume alone.
Yeah.
But yikes. You look under the hood. 21 carries, 39 yards.
Yeah,
if he doesn't get to the end
touchdown,
zone,
it's an ugly, ugly day for him.
But, if a guy is getting 21 carries, you kind of have to fire him in the lineup.
You have to have him in the lineup, yes.
That's what we said. Ronnie, nice job. It's a guy that can step in as soon as something happens.
I will say, when Ivory comes back, it could be, good night, TJ Yeldon. Because he
needs to have a big game.
He needs to show something.
He needs to step it up. Yeah. He needs to be more effective as a runner. There's no doubt about it. Only other story here. Allen Robinson, I know your owners were a little bit disappointed, but 15 targets.
And that's the reason why you shouldn't be worried.
15 targets. The next best was Yeldon at 6, Allen Hurns at 5. Julius Thomas had a nice little game.
Yeah.
But got hurt on his ankle. Are you freaking out?
I feel like he's an injury guy.
And not only is he an injury guy, his ankle.
His ankle too, right?
Always
if I'm not
injured.
mistaken. Sure.
His ankle is always injured.
So that's a cause for concern. Definitely, if I'm a Thomas owner, I might roster another tight end.
Right.
Just as some insurance.
But one thing I will say though is the way that that he caught that touchdown though, which was just a pure isolated go route.
Nice grab. Yeah.
Beautiful.
He beat the guy.
And the fact that they're setting him up for those type of opportunities, if he's healthy, that's why he dropped.
Another weapon for them, yeah.
Okay. Baltimore, Buffalo, probably the second worst game that we had all week.
One of the ugliest games, maybe of all time.
I am going to tip my cap here. Mike Wallace. What do I say about Mike Wallace, folks? That's the only Ravens receiver I want. And I know you're going to say, oh, he only caught 2 balls, blah, 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 blah. But he burned him.
Okay. This is Mike Wallace's ceiling.
Burned him.
And he might do this 3, maybe 4 more times the rest of the year. But the other weeks, he's going to give you 2 catches for 40 yards, 1 catch for 15 yards. And then, you hope for the 3 for 91 and a touchdown. But how often is this going to happen?
I believe in Joe Flacco. And I think there are better days ahead. This was a tough matchup. Like, the Bills are a good defense. This is a tough matchup. He had 6 targets. That's nice, right? Only one who had more is Steve Smith, who turned in a 5 for 19 game. Nice job there.
Yeah.
Kamar Aiken, droppable? 2 targets?
Kamar Aiken is pretty close to droppable.
So all that hype behind that, folks.
Yeah.
Wait it out a couple games. We'll see. Again, there's 4 guys that
might give him
have upside.
1 more, if anything.
Right.
And depending on who's out there, depending on what your team situation is.
Agreed.
I wouldn't say you're an idiot for dropping him. I would not be upset if you had to drop him.
So those who were all about that, it sucks. But I'm still, my arrow's up for Wallace. Of the group of 4, Perriman did have a beautiful catch down the sideline. But he's not there yet, just 2 targets. But he looks special. Like it was one of the best catches of the week, if not the year.
I just feel very uncomfortable with all these receivers. I feel like it could be one guy 1 week.
I don't want any Ravens. There's too many of everyone. I don't want Forsett. So we had the scratches. Buck Allen gets a healthy scratch. They go with 2.
Yeah.
West actually got more carries, but Forsett was
neither
more.
really had a great game.
Exactly.
We're
moving on.
Yeah.
The Bills, as a Tyrod Taylor owner, are you panicking?
Well, I dropped him already, so
there you go.
That tells you how I feel about him.
There. You want him to be a Bill.
I would love that.
But
just an awful game here, and there's multiple things working against him. Not only was he terrible in this game, Watkins now has the injury concern popping up again. Next to it, he's facing the Jets on Thursday on the short week, and we all know that's never good for anything. Game planning wise, you're tired. It's not good.
An ugly affair.
And the next week, he's in Arizona. So, the next 2 matchups, you don't feel great about.
Right.
Watkins concerns you. The game right here, it concerns you. He didn't even run the ball. Usually, at least you can fall back with him, they'll give you the 40, 50 rushing yards. And he didn't even do that. Yeah. So, see ya. There's enough depth at quarterback for me where a guy like this, you don't have to hold on to him.
Drop him. Quarterback's so deep. Go pick up Matt Ryan. Go pick up Carson Wentz, like you
Dalton,
got options.
even Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo,
Take
you got options.
Anybody.
All right, time to make moves. Time to make moves, folks. You got to be quick. Let's go.
Let's get away from this game.
That was a bad game. Okay. Texans, Chicago. I kind of.
Houston and Chicago.
This worked out. I'm not gonna lie.
Uh-huh.
This went exactly as I thought it would.
Okay.
I thought the only thing I kind of didn't think would happen. I thought the Texans would actually score more points, but everything on offense that the Texans that we said about happened. I was pretty confident in Fuller based on that preseason being a go-to guy for Osweiler. It turns out he wasn't a go-to guy. He was the go-to guy. 11 targets compared to DeAndre's 8. Even after he dropped, we all know, the wide-open 83-yard bomb. He goes back to the kid. He catches a screen pass for a touchdown. He's doing moves. He looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I fire him up as a wire. Way up for this dude. Way up for this dude. Very upset I don't have more stock in him. And the fact that there's leagues out there where he wasn't even on in the first place, it hurts my soul. But really excited about that kid. But if you're a Hopkins owner, very encouraging. Forced to pass into the end zone, catches it. Other looks in the red zone. And then Lamar Miller.
I was going to say, that's the
Hit
big
me up with
takeaway.
Lamar Miller.
Yeah. 28 carries was a career high.
Oh, my God.
He said he was very happy with the workload he received. I think this is what we're going to see at him this year. Just a ton of touches, a ton of volume, and that gives him a very high floor.
Right.
And his ceiling is great as well.
I think there's great games to come.
I think so too.
And now, do I look a little smarter now? Do I take him over Peterson? Do I take him over Gurley? Do I take him over Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah.
And the rest of these guys? I think so.
I was on board with that when you did it, and I'm still on board.
I think this only validates
sure.
it. Thank you, Bill O'Brien. You're a great American. You're a great man.
How about the Bears?
Other side of the ball, what do you see?
Not much going on besides
Kevin White.
Kevin White's.
Wah. Sorry, Birdie. We told him, man.
He didn't look good. Eddie Royal actually kind of stepped up and became the second option in the passing game.
The classic post week 1 pickup.
Eddie Royal.
And, all the hype
he'll
reminds
have like one more solid game, and then he'll get put on the IR, and we'll wait till next year and do it all again.
No, it's nice to see Alshon salvaging, being the guy.
Alshon salvages game. Langford was there with the volume.
Right.
He was the back again, and as long as he is the back, he's going to give you value. I think he's a solid RB2 week in, week out. As long as
it's not going to be pretty.
No,
he's not going to be.
You're going to have games like this, I'm sure.
Correct.
Houston's got a good defense. When you're playing better, good defense.
But he's going to get the 1-yard plunge.
He's going to get the touches.
Fire him up.
Yeah.
Fire him up.
I'd be happy.
Okay, perfect. And look out for that Texans offense. Braxton Miller, a little disappointing, wasn't more involved, but I want to see a couple more weeks out of him. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Another, this was kind of an ugly game too, and I don't think it was anyone's fault really. Seattle, Miami, 12-10. Wilson gets hurt as we discussed, and the game just is kind of ugly.
The game was Seattle 10.5-point favorites coming in.
Right. Oh my God.
This game hurt my feelings. I lost a little money because Seattle just couldn't score more points.
Right.
And, I didn't really understand why. I couldn't figure it out. I get they were saying Miami's defensive front was pushing around Seattle's offensive line, so that's a little cause for concern.
Right.
But it seemed like Seattle was able to control the ball a lot. They gave a lot of carries to Michael, a lot of carries to Rawls, which I wasn't expecting.
That was a shocker.
It was almost a 50-50 split.
Correct.
I was going in. I thought Rawls was going to get maybe 5 to 8 touches. He ended up with 15-ish, which is right where Michael was as well.
That was shocking to me. If you're a Michael owner, I think you're pissed at this point.
Yeah, and in one league I own both of them, so I don't really know what to do. I don't know what to make of it.
And the latest is now that Rawls will now be fired up
Right.
as if he is the guy. And I think now that Michael kind of, I don't want to say floundered, because clearly the Dolphins played well. Rawls played worse.
Right.
But he didn't do anything to say, this job belongs to me.
Right.
So if I'm a Rawls owner, I'm breathing a sigh of relief.
I'm hoping week 2 kind of brings some clarity
And I think it will.
to the situation.
And I think it will. What else?
Dolphins
steps
side.
up.
Baldwin has a Baldwin game. 9 catches, 92 yards, touchdown.
Yeah. Ugly name, ugly player, but really just a good
solid.
player.
As long as Wilson is in there, I think Baldwin's gonna give you that.
Only storylines on the Dolphins side, I would say the running game. Foster establishes himself.
Yep. Ajayi was a healthy scratch.
Right.
They're saying they will bring him back week 2, but
it's Foster's backfield now.
Yeah.
If you invested Eric Troiler, by the way, we're naming a lot of your guys.
yeah,
Well done.
Eric did good.
I have to
Eric
play
did
him
good.
now this week, and I'm kind of freaking out.
Good luck. Good luck.
Despite my week 1 success in Hank Frelly.
But yeah, not much else from the Miami side. I mean, Seattle's defense is Seattle's defense.
Right.
So.
Landry gets peppered with targets. He saves you with an okay line in a tough matchup.
Uh-huh.
I hope there's better days ahead.
Yeah.
And the only other thing, Kenny Stills drops a wide open touchdown pass. If you're a Devontae Parker owner, I think you're feeling a little better. I know we are.
We both are, yeah.
He takes that.
Yes,
hit.
I'm feeling better because Kenny still blew his shot. We'll see if Parker can come back 100% and reestablish himself as the starter, the big play guy.
Yeah.
In the
I think
offense.
Stills just proved him that he can't be the number one, the big wide receiver, the downfield threat.
Right.
He can't do it.
He's more of a situational guy.
So let's let Parker get healthy. He'll come back. I think we start seeing some nice return on our investment 3 and 4.
We're gonna cross our fingers for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couple more left. Ooh, oh my God, this was
We're going to the
Colts Lions
Yes.
39-35. Detroit pulls out the win despite Andrew Luck's probably one of the best games of his entire career. Give me some of the player highlights here. Let's keep it brief, but holy smokes, there's a lot to talk about.
There is a lot.
Just give me quick hit and highlights. There's probably 5 on each team, to be perfectly honest.
Well, if you're a Riddick owner, you gotta be ecstatic.
My God.
Ecstatic.
And if he's unowned in your
Go
league,
get him right
go
now.
get
Hit pause,
him.
get him, come back.
Oh my God.
But yeah, Riddick was obviously, he got a lot of work passing. Even Abdullah, though, too, surprisingly got in on the passing attack. He had his yards on the ground.
Yeah,
He contributed in the air. He was an all-around contributor. You know what? The Colts defense kind of sucks.
They're
but
so
even,
bad.
I know,
But
but even
you
so,
gotta be encouraged.
you have to be happy with what happened.
So Abdullah's arrow's up. Ebron catches a touchdown. His arrow's up. Riddick's arrow's up. Golden Tate gets 7 targets.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the one player your mind changes on.
Surprisingly, everybody expected Tate and Jones to be the big guys going into the game. Even a lot were expecting Bolden to steal a touchdown.
Right.
And then none of those guys found their way into the end zone.
No, they didn't. But I think if you invested in Marvin Jones, that you're going to be a happy camper.
I think both. I think Tate and Jones. I think we've said this before.
Okay.
Both will return
Got
profit
it.
for you.
I mean, the only thing I really make of is the fact that Tate catches 7 balls, but he only goes for 41, which that makes sense. He's the check down guy, he's a short guy.
Yeah.
But Jones is getting peppered with downfield attacks.
Sure.
I think there's better head today. Colts quickly.
Colts. Moncrief for me is the best receiver on this team. Dwayne Allen established himself for me.
Oh no, wait! I've been holding up the wrong signs. Are you a bull market is good, right?
I don't know. I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
you.
bull is good. I've been holding up the right signs. Okay. Good. Moncrief. Woo!
We're bullish on him. Dwayne Allen for me.
Yeah.
Back end tight end, especially with the
Tight end was
decimated
horrible
tight end feeling week
week
1.
Jason Witten, I think, was the top scorer.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Holy
so
smokes,
for
it
me,
was
Dwayne
ugly.
Allen, lock him in as a tight end 1.
Dorsett, we
Now.
talked about with Cody. 51-yard bomb that he caught on 6 targets. Hilton gets peppered with 12. That's nice because I'm a Hilton hater.
Yeah.
So, and then Andrew Luck, obviously, you want to flip to the Manchester League real quick. Freaking Pat Mead, best scorer in the league by far, crushes me, and he gets him in the 7th round after Eli Manning.
That was unbelievable.
I'm pissed.
Still the steal of the draft.
Steal of the draft, clearly a steal of the draft.
But yeah, I think this kind of game script is what you can expect from the Colts pretty consistently.
Exactly.
Because we said their defense is trash.
So bad.
I think they were missing their top 3 cornerbacks.
Nope.
They started Antonio Cromartie, who they signed like 5 minutes before the game.
Right. He looked awful.
Yeah, it's not looking good for their defense.
So, perfect Colts script. If you have any pieces of that puzzle, then you did a great job. No pickups. I think everyone should be scooped up already. Maybe a Dorsett if he's available in your league. New England, Arizona. Okay. Another good game. Another nail biter. All I'll say is that Bill Belichick is already one coach of the year for me. Until anyone pulls something out of their ass, prove them up. Maybe Jack Del Rio. I don't know.
It's just not fair.
Somehow
there's no explaining it. He has the answer for everything. He's the best coach of all time, I think.
Of all time.
And as long as
it's not even close.
As long as he is on the sideline for the Patriots,
right.
My Jets will never win the division,
right.
And probably never get to a Super Bowl.
Right.
So.
And that led to a game where Garoppolo doesn't have to throw that many times, only 33 attempts. Blunt works as the workhorse, albeit pretty inefficient against a stout line. So he gets 22 carries. And then
for me, Garoppolo very efficient.
Yep.
Showed a lot of poise. He was down 3 starting linemen.
Yep.
Down Gronk.
Right.
Looked very good, sharp, decisive.
Right.
They're going to go 4-0 without Tom Brady.
Right.
And they might not lose a game the entire year.
Right. And we talked about Blunt's only effective in these type of games where they're winning, they're grinding it out.
Yeah.
But I think their defense looks better than in years past.
I mean, their defense was very good last year.
Right.
And it's very good this year, too. They have a lot of good players. They have a lot of good players.
They made Carson Palmer look bad. And flip to that side of the ball now. Are you concerned about Carson? I am. I'm a little...
No. I think New England...
Oh.
New England has a top defense. Palmer still put up his 19 points. Larry Fitzgerald isn't going anywhere. I told you he wasn't going anywhere. For me, he's still the number 1 receiver on this team.
You know what? Have fun. And then enjoy the last 10 games with him when he's heaving on the sideline with his big old booty.
I don't think so, man.
Lugging that thing around is causing him to slow down.
He keeps himself in pristine condition.
Okay. Well,
8 catches for 81 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, what else do you want from the guy?
I don't buy it. You don't buy it. This is how last year started. If you want to be a playoff team, you want to be a championship team, then sell now.
No,
or sell mid-season.
Don't sell right now.
Sell.
Don't sell it.
Book it. Other than that, John Brown was a disaster.
John Brown is a disaster.
And David Johnson was a beast.
As expected.
And Chris Hogan stepped up to the hype.
Yeah. All right. Next.
Malcolm Mitchell, nice little tool there. I'll go get Malcolm Mitchell. Do you have anything on him before we move on? Looked slick.
If it's a deep league and you have the bench space, I don't think he makes an impact unless other guys get hurt in front of him. There's too many other mouths to feed.
I think that it's an investment that if you do it now while it's cheap, it will start paying off by October, November, when it counts.
Fair enough.
Edelman, how violent did he play? How irresponsible does he play?
We talked about it. Yes, there could be injuries easily.
Malcolm Mitchell, folks.
We'll see.
The ex-receiver. Pittsburgh, Washington, one of the most entertaining games, just from an offensive perspective of the week. Ben Roethlisberger lights it up. So nice job, Matt. Hey, sometimes you pay for quarterback, sometimes it works out.
Yeah.
What about this D'Angelo Williams kid? Isn't it just unfair
It's unbelievable
that he has to lose his starting job now?
Yeah, it's got to be pretty rough for him.
143 yards and 2 touchdowns. Was he the top ranked running back this week?
I think I think he beat out Ware with the 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I would think so.
And CJ was the one for a
CJ,
while.
yeah, I think the
move he pulled between Breland and whoever.
He slipped. Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
He was good. Otherwise, as expected from Pittsburgh, I think Antonio Brown, big game. Eli Rogers.
Talk about Eli Rogers.
I think he's established himself as a weekly flex.
7 targets he gets. Only tie with Jesse James, and then I get less than D'Angelo, but that's fine.
Yeah, he got lucky on his touchdown because it bounced off of Sammy Coates' face.
Right.
But I think as long as he's
he lets touchdowns bounce off his face.
But I think as long as Eli Rogers is starting in the slot, he's gonna be productive. And I think even without the touchdown, the 6 for 60, that could be right around his floor, his weekly floor for me.
Very encouraging.
So if it's a PPR, half-point PPR, I think that's solid. Solid production.
Get Rodgers. We're excited about Rodgers. Get your Tyrell Williams this week. Those are definitely 2 immediate pickups for you guys.
Washington side.
Deshaun Jackson. We talked about that.
Deshaun
and we
good.
said
Good. Yeah.
That was this could happen. He could have a very nice season. I'll leave Reed's performance as there are better days to come. He's still at 11 targets.
He had a ton of targets. You know what? I didn't get a chance to watch the game, but talking to somebody who did, I was on the phone for pretty much the entirety of the 4th quarter.
Right.
He was telling me that just Washington looked like they had just given up at that point.
Right.
And that last drive, Kirk Cousins wasn't even hurrying the offense. They were walking. They just didn't look like they wanted to do anything.
Yep.
So I definitely think there are better weeks ahead. Hopefully Jay Gruden gets fired up for next week.
Right. One of their stories in the receiver is Garcon puts up his classic 6 for 51. If you just need looking for floor, he's right around there always. Not nothing more, nothing less. And Jamison Crowder, 10 targets.
Yeah.
10 targets.
Crowder, kind of like Eli Rogers on the other side of the ball. Slot guy.
If he's available,
I think he has a safe floor in PPR.
Think about it, folks. Think about it. Nice performance.
He gave you decent production last year too, so it shouldn't be a surprise to see that kind of line from him.
Very happy about that.
Sneaky guy I want to talk about, Josh Doctson.
Sure.
Was hurt all preseason.
He was
healthy for this game. Found his way onto the field. Caught a pass.
Yep.
He's a first-round pick.
Yep.
I can easily see him taking over Pierre Garcon's job in the near future.
Okay.
And then we know Deshaun Jackson hasn't been a model of health over his career.
Not a bill of health, certainly.
So if you have the room and you want to take a flyer from maybe a lottery ticket, I think he's a solid guy to
I agree. I agree. I'm glad you said that, and I think he's got healthier quicker than I think we all thought.
Yeah.
So
I think he got healthier quicker. Now it's a matter of him, I think, just catching up with the offense the time he missed in the preseason.
Right.
And just getting the opportunity.
Agreed.
So we'll see.
And then the only story is Jones just looking awful, as Matt Jones does.
Yeah,
I know it's game script, but this could be the way that this offense goes.
Yeah, and I think snap-wise, him and Chris Thompson were 50-50.
Right. I guess.
But again, this could be the script more often than not.
I was very upset that Rob Kelly did not touch the field after that preseason.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
I was too, but I think it says something. They really want Jones to be the guy
to succeed.
He's healthy.
Okay.
And there's no reason to stray from that.
Kelly once regarded as an upside. I was gonna guess Matt Jones would be the first to lose his job.
I think it was a smart pickup in the preseason.
Yeah.
But now week one reveals a lot. So you gotta.
He's droppable now, folks.
Yeah.
Look elsewhere. Look for those quicker opportunities.
Are you trying to skip the Jets on me?
I am not trying to skip the Jets. The one thing I will say though, are you Kirk Cousins before you go to the Jets? Nervous or no?
A little bit. I think I would have another quarterback on the roster if I'm a Cousins owner.
Okay.
I
think everyone was thinking like, oh, this is like a great potential top 5 quarterback. I don't know.
Yes, potential.
This is a thing.
Sure.
This is for me. This is a very let's see a couple more weeks before we start.
Yeah, I want to see another game. I think they have a lot of weapons in Washington, and we saw what he could do last year. So I wouldn't go crazy with Cousins yet.
Okay.
All right.
Where are these Jets?
They're right here. They lost, unfortunately. Nick Folk blew an extra point. They had a field goal blocked. But otherwise, I think they look good.
Oh my God, I almost skipped the Giants too.
Yeah, you almost skipped the Giants too.
God.
But I want to talk Jets.
Talk Jets.
This was a brutal game for me to watch. The only real guy.
They covered at least.
Yeah, they covered, but they lost. They lost.
They covered at least.
Jesus, Forte looked great. I think that's the main takeaway from the Jets offense.
That's it.
Stud. Bilal Powell really took a back seat. We'll see if Forte can hold up to this kind of workload. Yeah. But for the foreseeable future, I don't see any reason why it changes.
All this Bilal Powell talk, blah 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 blah.
There was a lot.
Fool me.
But I think we just didn't respect Forte.
Maybe we should have figured that. Like, what's the reason to give Bilal Powell 15 to 10 carries a game?
I don't know.
That's bad on me.
I mean, just the way the offense is running, a lot of quick passes. Fitzpatrick got rid of the ball a lot. They were moving Forte around.
Yeah.
I liked how they were running the offense. It was interesting. But for me, both receivers, even though Decker kind of saved his day with the touchdown,
which is classic.
80
yards or a touchdown.
Right, but I think he had 2 catches.
Yeah, he only had 2. 7 targets, inefficient day for him.
So that hurts. And Marshall had a couple of bad drops too, especially on that last drive. Man, if he didn't drop that ball, that 25-yarder to start the drive, we were in.
I know.
Yeah, that got closer. It was just.
It was a rough one for the Jets. It was a game that they had to win. They owned the Bengals too, which is the most frustrating part.
Kill them, man.
They owned the Bengals. I would have put a lot of money in them just winning outright. I didn't really.
I thought they were gonna win outright too. Home.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
Underdogs. I didn't understand.
I think there's better days ahead though.
Yeah.
And it's nice that Nunwa emerges as a nice.
Nunwa looked good. I liked Nunwa last year. Yeah. Not from like that he's gonna be a big producer. But he's a good player in this offense.
Right.
It would be interesting to see if Decker or Marshall went down with an injury to see how he would play.
Agreed. Deep leagues, you can already look at a Nunwa just as a guy to 5 to 7 targets a game.
Right. But I'm not ready to pick him up in anything less than a deep.
Bengals side, I would say the only thing is I was shocked by Bernard's usage, and obviously Green's 180-yard blow up, which was fantastic, and LaFell right behind him with 91, 4 catches on 4 targets, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm pissed as a Bernard owner. This was a Duke Johnson situation. This was pure game script for him.
For me, the Jets usually get beat by those kind of backs.
Right.
The ones that
you can't run against them.
Yeah.
So you throw to them and let them work in space.
Right.
I was very upset.
So it was odd to see that he didn't get more work.
Are you concerned long term now? Does that kind of mean that
for Bernard?
Yeah.
No, not too much. I think there are going to be weeks like this,
right?
And that's just the risk you take, having him on your team and playing him every day. For me, he's a flex. I'd have to see a lot more for him to join the RB2 conversation.
Okay, and that's all I'm relying on him as a flex. But certainly, if it's your RB2, I would be a little.
I would be worried.
Concerned.
I'd be worried.
Okay. Giants, Cowboys.
Giants in the bully.
The other New York team, and the other New York team pulls it out. Encouraging performance by Dak. And that leads us to another pickup for you guys. Cole Beasley.
Are you buying Beasley?
Yeah.
You are?
From a pure target perspective, 12 targets.
Yeah.
Him and Witten are going to get that many targets a game as long as Dak Prescott is the quarterback.
I'll tell you, I'm not sold on Beasley.
As a nice little
I feel like he has this game every year, and then he just kind of dissipates. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying Beasley.
The difference is, though, the quarterbacks that were throwing him were so much worse than Dak Prescott.
But what did Dak Prescott do that you're telling me Dak Prescott impressed you?
Yeah, he was
very mediocre.
Poised. He was
poised.
He was poised. He's in great shape.
20 field goals.
Listen,
they didn't score.
He moved the ball.
Did they though? Look at their drives, man. They did not.
They moved.
This is a game that was left wide open for them, and they should have won. They gave it to the Giants at the end. It was inexcusable. And I want to talk about Victor Cruz. All the Giants fans are going to be Victor Cruz is bad. Caught a touchdown. No.
I agree.
No.
I agree there.
You know what? I hope you go pick him up.
Yeah.
Because
go pick him up.
If you're playing with me, go pick him up, please. Because
So that's a.
I can't.
That's a bear for
that
you.
That is a grizzly bear right there.
Okay.
Don't buy Cruz, please, man. If he does this for 2-3 more weeks, but this game wasn't even that great.
I know.
If he doesn't have the touchdown, it's a shit game.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can say a lot of people. You can say about Langford.
Sure, but he's not going to get the targets.
No, he only had 4 targets. Although Sterling Shepard only had 4 targets. Eli Manning did not throw the ball a lot this game, and I think there's better. He had only 28 pass attempts.
Right.
So
I see more balls going to. I mean, Odell is obviously the number 1. I think Shepard will establish himself as the 2 option.
Yeah, that would be nice to see him catch a touchdown.
I think Vereen finishes with more targets than Cruz.
Okay.
And then if you want to say, Cruz will be like a red zone target, I disagree too. I think they have other red zone guys. I think obviously Odell can catch the ball in the red zone. The 2 tight ends, Donnell and Ty. Eli's always very comfortable with tight ends.
Yes, he is.
And then even Vereen can sneak in. I just don't see a lot of upside with Cruz, man.
That's fine.
And I think he's still just an injury, a quick twist of the knee away from being shut down again.
I'm with you on that. Encouraging Rashad Jennings' usage. Love to be proved right on that.
Yes.
18 carries. He'll have better days.
Yes.
Ezekiel Elliott with a pretty trash debut.
Yeah, but
2.6 yards a carry.
I'm not worried if I'm a Zeke owner.
Right.
Because they showed a commitment to the run line.
And the touchdown run itself was gorgeous.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. What's your take on Dez? But Dak Prescott is poised and wonderful, and he's a
as a check down guy. As a check down guy.
What check down quarterbacks would you consider great and good?
Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl.
Come on.
Alex Smith does well with short passes. He's fantastic.
You're killing me.
I'm very concerned about Dez Bryant. I think you are too, and I'm extremely. Happy I don't have him.
I am concerned. I am very concerned about Dez. Here, if I have to if I have to lean on something,
okay.
If I have to sell myself back on
sell
Dez,
yourself back.
I say this is the first game that the kid is starting.
Right.
They want to play very conservative.
Right.
The drives were scripted. They tell him, listen, go. This is your option 1. This is option 2. We're not going beyond that. They keep it very simple for him. Make it easy. I'm hoping as they get more comfortable, as he gets more comfortable, they'll take some shots downfield. I think in the preseason, he showed a little more aggressiveness.
Right.
But now that the games matter, maybe the coaches reeled him in a little bit. And I'm hoping that it will trend upward for Dez as opposed to flatlining where we are.
That's fine. I hear you. Certainly concerned.
Yeah. And you know what? Dez ain't going to sit there quietly getting one catch a goddamn game. He's going to open his mouth.
And he almost caught the touchdown in classic Dez fashion.
Dez,
It would be touchdown.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I'm going to hope for a combination of Dez's big mouth and the game plan changing as Dak gets more comfortable.
Fine. But rest of the season, AJ Green and Dez are classes apart now. classes
Yeah,
apart.
well, going in, I thought Green was a tier above Dez anyway.
Fine.
So
something to look out for there. Yeah, Beasley's your pickup there.
yeah,
And then the last game.
the last
My
game.
God.
Do we even have to do this game?
The only thing I want to say,
What do you want to say?
we talked about Hyde. We like him. Only thing I'll say on the Niners side is Curley is the pickup. That's your Bruce Ellington.
Jeremy Curley?
Yeah, he's going to get 10 targets a game. I love being proved right on Torrey Smith. How bad is he? Just sucks. And you hate to. I don't want to root against him, but I like that Nick Mariano's wrong about that. It gives me a little bit of hope. It gives me a little bit of hope this year that maybe this could be my year instead. He was a disaster in a game where Blaine Gabbert played pretty well. He is quick as hell. He got some nice design runs for him.
They did okay. But it's so weird. In a game where they score 4 touchdowns, there's not a lot of stats across the board.
Not at all.
I guess it was more of a product of the Rams just not being able to move the ball. And San Fran was set up in great field position. Hyde has the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Kelly needs to start pulling him out of the game too. There was no reason he should have been in the game that late. That's a concern, if anything, is he could get hurt from over usage. A little aggressive.
So Curley is your pickup here in PPR standard. I don't think you touch him.
Well, if it's 14-team standard, we don't know what these rosters look like. I could see it, but yeah, I would agree. Is
this the ceiling for the San Fran offense though?
Yes. Absolutely.
So you're telling me Curley's best week, 7 catches for 60, maybe he gets a touchdown?
Yes.
All right.
I like that. 7 for 60 on 11 targets plays.
All right. Gurley, you worried? I think that's the last point.
And I love being proved right on that too.
Yeah, I'm a little...
He faced 8 or 9-man boxes over 80% of the time. Dating back to last season, he's only averaged like 65 yards a game.
Yeah.
I am
This
gravely
looks really bad.
concerned.
It looks really bad for the Rams, not only for Gurley, for Case Keenum. I mean,
Historically
Jared
bad
Goff, how bad... The front office, I just don't understand.
They
look real dumb, man. They have serious egg on their face. You're telling me your number 1 overall pick isn't better than 17 for 35 for 2 picks?
Yep, leading them to 10 punts. It was shockingly bad, but isn't this what we expected? We watched Hard Knocks.
I mean, yeah, but not this. This is
the team.
This is the
worst. This isn't
team
even
in the
some 7-9 BS. This is some 3-12
this is like you
or
might
3-13
games.
It's horrible. No, you just saw it. Nobody on that locker room cared.
Yeah.
Nobody was saying, doing what Tyrann Mathieu did and just getting these guys amped, ready to go. They don't care.
No.
They're all looking to get paid. Tavon, honestly, think he gives a... He was literally the worst wide receiver this week by PFF.
Yeah.
$40 million they pay this kid, and he turns in a 4-catch for 13 yards on 12 targets.
Yeah.
He was far and away. He was more than double the next person in targets, and he gives you 13 yards. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. I'm very concerned if I'm a Gurley owner.
Yeah. Okay.
Very concerned. And that's really it. That was week 1. It was amazing. Feel free to send us in your line of questions.
Email us, tweet us.
Yeah.
At
Baron Marco.
For now,
that's right.
We'll hope to get our producers on getting us a
That's right. We're gonna get a little more techier as the show goes on.
As the sponsors start coming in.
That's right.
Once the money starts coming. So.
Once the money comes in, exactly.
We'll start working.
Exactly. But for now, tweet me, leave your comments in the comments section, and get ready for week 2, baby. Jets, Bills, let's do it.